Hello, my friend. I cannot believe that it has been 5 years since we last talked about a Roberto Mansilla book. A lot has changed in 5 years, but there's also a lot that stayed the same. So let's talk about this new book by Vanishing Inc, Cerca, and whether or not it might be for you. Let's rewind the tape back to 2021 when I reviewed Roberto's first English translation book, Naypes. It was a book mostly of stand-up card magic, and you could check out that old review here, back before I had a lot of gray in my beard. Back then, I was the CFO for a different company, and now I work for Vanishing Inc. Of course, that does make me in some way or another biased, so I wanted you to know that up front. However, as always, I will do my best to be as objective as possible in describing what you might get out of this book, what I liked, and frankly, even though I work for the company, there are some things that I didn't like as much. Now, if you missed Naypes from 2021, you could still get it. It's back in print, but let me explain the differences between that and this book. Naypes focused primarily on parlor and stand-up card magic, while Cerca is about close-up magic. It contains 10 full-scale tricks and then 4 smaller type tricks in a section toward the back of the book that he calls haikus. We'll talk more about that later in the video. It's not all card magic. There are a couple of routines in here that diverge from that. There's a sponge ball routine and a color-changing knives routine. The other 8 main tricks are card magic. I mentioned at the beginning of this episode about Naypes being an English language translation, and Cerca is the same thing. This was originally published in Spanish, and it has been translated into English for the first time with this Vanishing Inc print. The book is just a little over 200 pages. It has a very, very similar format to the first book. It's hardback, black and white, line drawings throughout, beautiful, thick, off-white or cream-colored paper, but unlike the first book, there is no ribbon bookmark. As with the first book, this is geared toward the intermediate magician. I don't think that this is for beginners at all. It's not because everything is difficult to do, it's just because the author is pretty well studied, very well read, and assumes a lot of knowledge on the part of the reader. Now, everything is explained, any of the sleights that you need to know are there, but I think there's a lot of technical jargon, references to other magicians, and if you're just starting out, you probably don't know those, and it might be harder for you to read and absorb the contents of the book. In terms of the types of props that you're going to need, as with the first book, for the card routines, generally a pack of cards, sometimes a couple of gimmicks, some double facers, double backers, mispipped index corners. Some of this you'll likely have on hand, and other things you may need to order, but none of it's going to be terribly difficult or expensive to source. And of course, for the sponge ball routine, you'll need some sponge balls, a wire purse frame, and the color-changing knife routine. Pretty obviously, you'll need some color-changing knives. Let's talk about some of the things I liked about this book, and then we'll jump into some of the things that I thought could have been better. But before we do, let me tell you about the sponsor of this week's episode, Don's Magic and Books. Don is a magic book specialist. And what I mean by that is that he has an online shop, but it focuses almost exclusively on magic books, which is why he is such a great sponsor for this channel. When you visit his website, you can expect to find all different kinds of books, everything from rare and out-of-print gems to the latest and greatest books like Cerca. Don offers fast and free shipping if you meet certain minimum thresholds in the United States, and perhaps what makes people into lifelong customers of Don's, he offers extremely fair and reasonable prices, especially when it comes to those older books that are harder to find. When he gets in a collection and there are some rare books or hard to find books, he goes out, does research, finds out what they've actually sold for, and then typically backs off of that price to make sure that this book can live on in someone else's library and be enjoyed by appreciative magicians for, well, forever. So if you haven't shopped with Don, be sure to check out the link down in the description below and start shopping with Don's Magic and Books this week. Let's jump into a little bit of discussion about the book. You've heard me do a lot of comparison of this and his first book, and that's because to me, these two feel very, very similar in their style and approach, which is what I would expect from the same author. It's a very personal style, and if I had to offer one word about the contents of the book, it's personalization. Most of the material in this book are classic plots. Things like cards up the sleeve, out of this world, a can, magician versus gambler, stop tricks, etc. I didn't feel personally like much of this was brand new concepts or material. These were personalized touches that Roberto has put into his own magic, and he explains often why he liked the trick, what made him choose it, what aspects of it drew him to that trick. And at the end of each write-up, you get a really nice layout of the inspirations for his particular handling of this classic effect. Sources or other books where he found the ideas, anecdotes from other magicians that he's shared this with and offered him feedback. All of this is a very intimate style of book. It doesn't aim to be encyclopedic. It doesn't aim to be anything other than what it is, Roberto sharing some of his favorite tricks and handlings with you, the reader. The book reads in a slower style, which I frankly found interesting. It was different than a lot of books where it's a little more clinical in its approach to generically give you the information. Instead, this is all very personal and how Roberto actually uses these tricks in his performance environments. I also enjoyed the fact that it was more than just card tricks, that there was a sponge ball routine and a color-changing knife routine. It's always nice to mix it up just a little bit. It's easy to take it for granted, but I'll also say that I really liked the style and layout of the book. It's simple, uncluttered, but doesn't have any fluff or excess spacing in it. I did like the variety of the different classic card plots, but toward the end of the book with the haikus section, I really appreciated these shorter and different style effects. They're not big routines, they're smaller and intended to be more of an artistic presentation, perhaps at the very end of an evening of Magic, as sort of a palate cleanser or a neat little way to end the evening. Transitioning a bit to the things that maybe I didn't like as much or I would have liked to have seen done differently, I'll go back to what I said before about this being personalizations and the style of the material. Many of these are classic tricks. So if you're already interested in those tricks, then you likely have already found other versions. These aren't new plots. The handlings have some very nice touches to them, and there are ways that he synthesizes different ideas that maybe you haven't seen before. But I don't feel like this is a super original book on Magic. Because of the more intimate style, which can be a positive, there's also a negative to that too, that I thought that sometimes it was harder to read. If you're just looking to learn the tricks, you have to wade through a lot of the other discussion about why he chose this effect for himself, etc., to get to the meat of how to perform the trick. Let's turn our attention to the value proposition here. This is one of the least expensive hardback book publications that we've seen lately, especially from the major players that we've come to know and love. The book retails for $40, which frankly speaking feels like reasonable value. Naypes, when it was released in 2021, retailed for $35, so with inflation, $40 is about what you would expect to pay for this if you felt like Naypes was good value. Many hardcover books today are coming out for $50 plus, especially in this size, so the $40 price point feels like reasonable value for what you get. The 10 tricks plus the 4 mini haiku type effects at the end of the book. It's somewhat refreshing to have a hardback book that you can purchase that doesn't really break the bank and will fit into most magicians' monthly budget. If you purchased the first book and you liked what he had to say there, I do think that you'll like this. It's more on the close-up side of the house than the parlor side of the house, but if you like the way Roberto writes, there's no reason to think that you won't enjoy this one too. If you have any questions that I didn't address in this discussion, then I hope you'll leave a comment down below. And if you've watched this far, you should probably consider subscribing to the channel, and I encourage you to check out my newsletter, the Erudite Magic Digest. It is a free subscription, and I invite you to check that out via the link I'll drop in the description below. As always, my friend, I truly appreciate you watching, and until next time, keep reading.